show, 5-Star Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Marc. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome back to 5-Stripe Weekly, everyone, and also welcome back, Marc Nichols, back in the building. Great to see you. And yeah, it's a week since the last match. We've had some things happen we had to take care of, and so apologies for the delay, but let's talk about that Columbus Crew match that was ultimately frustrating, and this depleted side defensively, gave up a goal within the first minute. It's definitely something that's a problem. A set piece again, just something that is deja vu over and over. But overall, we kept pushing for goals. We had that attacking onus. It was still, we were chasing the game, but ultimately it looked like, Gonzalo Pineda was still going after it. Didn't, put his tail between his legs, or put our tail between our legs, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. We kept going for it, but it's one of those things where, the defense so shaky right now. I mean, and it's because, for obvious reasons, we have numerous players out in the back line, and even a guy that comes in, Ronald Hernandez, he gets injured in the first half. And so that's that thing as well. Mikey Ambrose had to come on, and then he gets taken off in the second half. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty damning, I think, of, it's one of those, who knows if Gonzalo Pineda rates Ambrose, but, we also, in this match, this is a complete non sequitur, but the Prime Blue Parley kit, that came out and made its debut for its one and only game every season. And the marketing was very perplexing from LA United, I will say. It says that, purple is temporary, but, and then I think it was something like 5 stripes are forever. What'd you think of that Prime Blue kit, Marc? I mean, the purple, should we ever? This is like complete blasphemy, right?
I mean, because it's for this, it's this campaign, right? That they do every year, and so it's like Atlanta's not the only team that has to wear it. But to be honest, I thought the design was kind of boring. Like, I don't know, it didn't wow me. I thought it was fine. Like the other kit just seems like your basic white kit. So it was
like our King Peach kit essentially, but even lighter.
I could even tell the peach, like, at least not from watching on TV. So I don't know, it's definitely not a must-have for me. Like, I'll be honest, like, I like the color purple, objectively, minus their association with Orlando, but this kit just didn't really do it for me. So, and given the way we performed in the match, I mean, given the result, it's, the performance itself, again, there are positives in there. Rouge and Almada are so good, you know what I mean? And they've pretty much got the team on their backs at the moment. Moreno's playing well too, I think. But just like the timing of the goals are particularly frustrating, but they're just so easy, We've seen this script before with the giving up goals on set pieces, and again, but the first set piece of the game, man, come on.
Yeah, you can't switch off. Like,
you're just having a laugh.
First. The very first set piece. Yeah, exactly. And it's that there's too much switching off, and Gonzalo Pineda pretty much spoke, kind of after the game, the next day as well, where he's basically, he doesn't. Like, anybody that switches off, essentially, will not see as much playing time. But I think it's that, that should be the standard, is what he's saying, and that should be baseline, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not, that's the basics. Like that's schoolboy defending a lot of the stuff that we're doing,
Right.
where we're not goal side, where, uh, yeah, I mean, basically guys are getting free headers.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things. Sure, like yeah, good players will get free headers, because they're very good at creating space for themselves. It didn't seem like that was the case. It just seemed like we missed our marker, or people aren't giving maybe enough effort defensively because they've switched off. And ultimately, we're suffering for it. The game state is very important because, yeah, you're chasing a goal early. It changes the way you play completely because the team can, the team or your opponent you're playing can essentially set up shop. And
I think that, I mean, we've seen this script before with teams coming to Mercedes-Benz. I mean, Atlanta came into this match, I think, with a 13-game unbeaten streak at home.
Yeah.
And so, we've gotten used to a particular type of approach, like a cautious one, and then looking to take their chances. Well, even more so when you get a goal in the first minute. I mean, so not completely agree. I think that a team like Atlanta should have a consistent game plan, especially with goals. I mean, with games that are within a goal, because it's still a game at that point. But no doubt, it affects your mentality. It changes like how you approach the game. So, again, just very frustrating.
Right. And then in the 45th minute, we give up another goal for them, and the one-on-one defending is just very poor. You show a guy to his strong side and allow him to shoot at the far corner. And I also think, Bobby Shuttleworth, has not really been lighting it up in that sense either. And it seemed almost like, okay, maybe he was surprised by the shot, but it's, you got to be anticipating that he's going far corner, and then, of course, covering anything that's on your goal side. So,
especially when you see the move, right? Like as soon as you see him cut onto his right foot, you need to be get ready into diving position or whatever.
Right. And it's a half-hearted effort, it feels like a little bit too. Like not full stretch, hand or arms only 3/4 really like extended. It's strange. And I think a lot of people are calling for Shuttleworth to be benched and Rocco Rios Novo to, maybe get a look. And, what do you think? I mean,
I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. I will say this though, and so of course, on this podcast, I've spoken about Guzan a lot, and what I thought about him, and it's a lot of people were quick to move on from Guzan, and you see, and one of the things I've always said is, especially for MLS, like he's a good keeper. This is an example, and now we're just getting an example of what a not good keeper is. Unfortunately, Shuttleworth shouldn't be playing regularly, right? Like that's not, like obviously you have a backup just in case that something happens to the starter, but I don't think anybody ever had the idea that he'd be making 20 plus appearances, which is he's now likely going to. Now you're saying Rocco Rios Novo maybe should get a look. I mean, I'm not against that necessarily, but he wasn't necessarily playing a lot in Argentina.
With Lanús,
yeah, and there's the one major drawback, which is his height. He's a little on the small side for a keeper, right? And that's not to say that he can't be good, but I do want to caution people being eager for Rios Novo and then him not living up to their expectations, and then people being disappointed and criticizing him the same way they're criticizing Shuttleworth and the way they were criticizing Guzan.
Right. But I think it's also that, he's the shiny new toy. We haven't used him yet. And so it makes sense from the fans why they want to see him play, especially when Shuttleworth is pretty much just allowing goal after goal in that sense. And it is partially, yes, the defense in front of him. But, I would say this. Shuttleworth looks decent on the ball in terms of with the ball at his feet, but Rios Novo, he he's shown, in that Champions League match and in the other Champions League match as well, that he's got ability with his feet and shot stopping ability. Now it's really the control of the box. That's the big question. And
almost is a physical league.
It's a physical league, and so we'll see. I think you got to give him a chance in that sense, and see what he can do. Otherwise, why do you sign him? Exactly. At this point, you got to create some competition, and if Shuttleworth, keeps shit in the bed, then Rocco Rios Nova is just going to continue to see that, and he's like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of those things, too, with the goalkeeper position in particular. It just has to be managed correctly, right? Because, goalkeeper's not coming out of a game, right? And so you pretty much have to bench the starter. It's not to say that, the backup can, come on in some games, show his stuff a little bit, and increase his playing time. You pretty much have to make that decision. So, I imagine that's a conversation that the coaching staff are having. I mean, they have to. At the end of the day, why do you sign Rios Novo? And again, going back to what I said before, you did not sign Shuttleworth to play this many games, and so, especially when he appears to be struggling, there's no reason to just keep starting him just because.
Right. But oftentimes these things kind of work out themselves in a way too. I mean, this intimately with Kepa and Mendy, where it was freaking awkward. Where it's like, what do you do with Kepa? You guys paid so much money for him. I'm talking about Chelsea players. If you don't know, and if you don't know that Marc is a Chelsea fan, but basically, you had to deal with what do you do? Like, we signed Mendy, who is clearly looking pretty good, and then but I think it eventually worked out, right? And so Kepa was the cup keeper, right? So it is merit, and especially that. But back to this game. So we saw the return of Josef Martinez as well while we were chasing the game, unfortunately, and so. I don't think things were completely set up for success in that way. We were definitely in big, just going forward, attacking mode where, we were throwing everything forward. And it was where Ronaldo Cisneros, who started the match, he moved to left wing back. And then Dom Dwyer came on. He came on at left wing back, but essentially it became more and more apparent that the service needed to come from Luis Araujo, with that left foot, that golden left foot of his. And I mean, we had our chances in that second half. I mean, we were peppering the goal. We really had them sitting very, very deep. They had to park the bus essentially, and they did really well. Unfortunately, Columbus Crew, not doing so hot on the road, but they did enough with the two, the one jab and then the right hook. That got us essentially, and
it feels like I don't know, this fixture, it always feels like a weird one. It just feels like Crew is I mean, look, there are teams that we struggle against, and we've talked about it on here, like Toronto Red Bulls, but Crew, I don't know, they're a sneaky one, man. They keep giving us trouble.
It's true, and even though they're a much changed team from their I mean, not super duper changed in the sense that they're completely unrecognizable, of course, but they are a far cry from their championship winning side from 2020, I would say. But Almada, like you were saying, ran this game. Marcelino Moreno had a late chance that their goalkeeper just, we just keep getting keepers that stand on their head, and it's very, very annoying. And, it's one of those games, so frustrating. Has everyone talking to themselves after the match was just ruining these chances, and ultimately, yes, we see that this side is very talented going forward, but like I've been saying, the game state is super super important. We we do not have the ability, I think, so far to keep goals out. So we need to score first. We need to make sure that our urgency is very, very high and that we do not switch off defensively early in matches. But do you have some thoughts, like more thoughts on this match?
I don't know if I have too much more to add. I mean, I'll just reiterate what I said before. The chances were created. Obviously we can tell we have gems in Arujo and Almada. That much has become clear, and hopefully one, we can get healthy enough, in time to make a push. But for the players who are playing now, I mean, we still have a good, number of decent players available, and I think this time off, like, the coaching staff has just got to figure out like what the approach is going to be to set us up for success. I mean, those goals, regardless of who's playing, really shouldn't happen. And at the end of the day, like, Alan Franco and Alex Dejean should be able to at least do a job for us. So I just, I hope, of course, our injury luck improves, but
I don't know how much more our defensive line can take, really.
Yeah. I mean the Gutman injury in particular for me is really gutting. I mean, like, the Miles Robinson, of course, but Gutman, I mean, he just brought something different, and he was just so reliable at that left back position, and so hopefully, I mean, thankfully and hopefully it's not the full season for him, but I mean, there's a lot of season left, like, we're just now really entering the summer. So hopefully we can get healthy by the end of the summer and make a push at the end of the season.
Right. I mean, the transfer window is going to be massive. Some reinforcements, however way we can, make it work.
Whatever maneuver. Right.
Because it's going to be difficult. I mean, at left back, at least we have Wiley, very inexperienced, and then Ambrose, who may not be favored really, but is cover. And then in this sense, I mean, we do have to shout out Dom Dwyer, who, I mean, what a overhead kick on his bike. I mean, as close as you can get to the goal for for that bike, but still pretty. I mean, and the first one that an LA United player has scored, so shout out to him. I think he's on 4 goals, so it's I think if anybody had said, oh yeah, like, Dom Dwyer is gonna play for LA United, 1, like, ha, what? Right. And then 2, he's gonna score more goals for us than Cubo Torres. Okay, all right, I'll take this all damn day. So
pretty much,
indeed. But so either way, frustrating match. Really, I mean, 2-1, it doesn't look the worst, but it's just, it felt like that type of match where, we're chasing the whole time, and we give away goals. It's just something that's and then we can't put any of ours away due to various factors. So, lots for the coaching staff, like you said, to work on. But I think there's, like we said, glimmers of hope in here, and maybe we can put it together later on in the season, or maybe right after this break, this international break, hopefully. But LA United, they will return to action on Tuesday, June 14th. When it hosts CF Pachuca in the American Family Insurance Cup at the Benz. And that will be interesting. It's just, obviously, it's like a little friendly, and kind of giving it some sort of a cup name to give it a little bit more of a some importance. But I think you'll kind of see maybe a maybe less type of maybe not as competitive, but still, I think for bragging rights, it'll be, this Mexican side, they will not want to lose. I mean,
Pretty
they will
much
be embarrassed in Mexico in the papers.
It's that, and like, I mean, we see it at the club and national team level with Mexico, like traveling to the U.S. Like they have fans here, and like even if like it's not necessarily Pachuca fans, like as we've seen in other games, like those fans will come out, like the fans who watch Liga MX and have their own rooting interest and appreciate the league, like they will come out. And so I think it ends up being a case of like, yeah, they actually don't want to be embarrassed like in front of those fans. And so no, yeah, I think that we will see like a decent game, and I expect the atmosphere to be pretty decent as well.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it was definitely cool. In the Campeones Cup, and of course, that's a different side. Club America, definitely, way more competitive and way more supported. I would say maybe even one of the most supported Liga MX sides. So definitely,
For sure. Yeah.
But so moving on from that, let's get into the news. And yeah, unfortunately, Atlanta United, they announced that Ronald Hernandez, he will miss approximately 3 to 4 months. He sustained an injury to his right MCL during that loss to the Crew. And so he will not be joining the Venezuelan national team for the international window. And it's he joins a long and heavy golf cart around the training grounds where there's like, I can't even count right now, but there's probably about like at least 6 first team players that are out long term, that that golf cart is not big enough. It's truly not big enough for all of them.
They're gonna have to make multiple trips.
Yeah, exactly. They have to buy another golf cart if they don't already have multiple ones, just to kind of shepherd them around so they can, do a bit of rehab. But it's grim in the injury FC department. But there were some pieces on some of our players, a couple midfielders of ours. First up, Matheus Rossetto, kind of the talk about how he got the captain's armband, and apparently it came after the decision came after discussions between the coaching staff, where they took into consideration who had been with the team for a while, who has consistently showed leadership qualities, and who would be a good fit for the role. And of course, Rossetto, as you guys have seen, has been the man with the armbands. Pineda did say that, I like that. He's in the middle of the park. You have someone who can talk, can pass messages to everyone because they are the center. They are at the center of the team. And he's also went on to say that Rossetto is a bit more cerebral, more the guy who is in good shape, waiting, kind of shadowing. And when he sees the opportunity, he steals the ball. He anticipates. And this is actually a surprising stat. And I will be, forthright. Yeah. Like, I have, in the past, not rated Rossetto defensively, but this fact right here. So, he's won more than 60% of his tackles, and that's in over 780 minutes played. And he's got 91.8% successful passes, so he's keeping things ticking while also, basically being that rock in midfield, running the game, and being very reliable for his teammates. And apparently also, Pineda said that he has respect of the locker room. He's always reliable on the field. You can always rely on him in tough moments because he wants the ball. He wants to play with some personality on the field, and he's able to turn under pressure so the players respect him for that personality. And then he's also saying that he's a fantastic human being. He's a very noble, very good guy, and that he's always smiling and has a good comment, positive comment, and that he has a good sense of humor. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Rossetto hasn't really been a guy that's very super vocal, or we've heard a lot from him in the past. But I mean, Rossetto, the kind of de facto captain at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, like when they say, they had to have a conversation about it, I believe. I mean, that's, they were in a tough spot with Miles Robinson and Brad Guzan, out for the season. Joseph still kind of working his way back. Like, who do you really choose? And so, while I was surprised at first, I thought, okay, I think he deserves benefit of the doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, captain is one of those things. Like, a team has multiple leaders, right? So just because you don't have the captain's armband doesn't mean you're not saying, something to other players, providing advice or whatever. And so I imagine that Hosetu has exhibited leadership qualities even before this. And so, honestly, like, I like it. Yeah. And I get his point about wanting somebody in the middle of the park. That I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I concur with that. The someone in the middle of the park, and it's also that. I mean, he's a person that can obviously speak Portuguese, but also English and Spanish, and we've definitely got players that speak all of those. And so, yeah, I think it's someone that I think speaks English well to a degree. Apparently, I know that he does have an American girlfriend, and so it's I would imagine they would be speaking English. So yeah, there is that. It's like, you gotta have a guy that can communicate with all the players on the field too, or at least, somewhat. And, in lieu of, I think probably the more obvious choice if he was in the side, it would be Josef Martinez. But, obviously, he's just coming back. And I think you'll probably see Josef Martinez maybe more with the armband when he's starting, but we'll see. I think that'll be very interesting going forward. But another midfielder that LA United did a little piece on was Hyman and his recovery. He, definitely, was, I think just one of the long line of players either coming back from injury or, injured. But, he, of course, had an ACL injury as well. And he was talking to Joseph. He said, quote, he gave the advice he could. He said, obviously, this is not going to be not going to get better too fast. He said, just do what you can. Do everything they tell you. Do it properly, and it'll run its course. You just got to come in prepared every day and do the right things. But, he's definitely making his way back into the side. Now, do you think, well, it'll be one of these things. I mean, Hosetu, Hyman probably are playing the same position in that sense. Mm-hmm. Yes, they can play together at times when we're a little bit more attacking, but should Hyman be the number 8, maybe the starter over Hosetu, or does he still have some? Does he need to earn that over Hosetu at the moment?
Yeah, I think he'd need to earn that. What I would say is he'd definitely be an option at the 8, especially with the amount of games that we'll have coming up. And then, not to bring up the scary subjects of injuries, but that could always happen. So, but with both players healthy, I mean, like, definitely right now, I'd take Hosetu. I think he's built up more goodwill, with his form in the last, I'd say, like, at least this season. Hyman, I think he's still working his way back too, so I wouldn't expect him to usurp Hosetu really this season, but certainly compete for minutes. Yeah,
indeed, and he's definitely one of our better scoring midfielders. So I think bringing him on later, could be a super sub type of opportunity as well, where he can contribute with goals, and that would be quite good, especially. We need those goals late, it seems, a lot of times. Moving on to LA United 2, they announced the signing of midfielder Tristan Traeger. He's 22. He's a second-round selection for LA United in the 2022 MLS Super Draft. And, this midfielder finally gets to play a part in the LA United 2 season. And, there's a good amount of midfielders in this side, and he just adds more depth for this side that's unfortunately sputtering at the moment, just like the first team. They fell 4-3 to Rio Grande Valley FC, and that was last Wednesday. But Captain Robbie Mertz, he recorded a second half brace to give Atlanta a 1-goal lead, but then Rio Grande, they rallied with a pair of late goals to steal the 3 points. And Atlanta United 2, they will play Memphis 901 FC on Saturday. So that pretty much is the news and pretty much the entire show, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, so Atlanta United, they obviously created the American Family Insurance Cup, and there is a lot of kind of personalization that has been happening where you can choose the kit, the music, etc., etc. Do you like the format? Do you like what's going on? And do you want to see it continue in the following years if we have a lull? I mean, obviously that is the key there too. But Marc, what do you think real quick before we sign off?
Yeah, it's a good way to get the fans engaged. It's creative. It's creative, and hopefully they actually present some good choices. But
no
I haven't
doubt.
had a chance to look at them myself. But you said no doubt.
I said no doubt. I mean, hopefully they do. And so far, it's been pretty fun choices, at least music-wise. So, yeah, it's been something that's I think we will see how they execute it, and it'll be very fascinating, I think. But there's like, it's really small aspects of this this competition, this friendly, ultimately, but it's a fun little thing, I think. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. But that is the episode. Guys, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. For Marc, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.